So there's three factors that affect how quickly a car can come out. I mean, obviously there's more than three, but for the sake of this video, the context is that there's three. Can you make a car quickly? What you need is simplicity, urgency, or compromise. If you think about cars, what do you got? You got folks like Rivian. Their car came out kind of on time because of urgency. It doesn't have compromise. It does not have simplicity, but it has urgency. Lucid, same deal. Not a lot of compromise, not a lot of simplicity, but absolute urgency. And then you've got cars like the Mazda MX-30. That's all compromise and simple. It's not a good car. So that's kind of where that's at. Let's talk about the history of Tesla and find out if you're even going to get that Cybertruck.
Oh, it's red?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
This is the mocha at the Kettleman SuperCharger lounge. So silly and wonderful. I love it. So we'll start at the top. There was the Roadster, and it came out. It came out with a sense of urgency because it was do or die. And a lot of companies get to that point in their development cycle and they die. It was not a compromise vehicle. It was not a simple vehicle, even though it was supposed to be, but it was urgent. And it was a little bit late. It was a little bit overpriced, but it came out in a time frame that for a startup would absolutely be considered reasonable. And a lot of companies, again, Lucid, reasonable, urgent, Rivian, urgent and reasonable. A little late, not too bad. You got to look at companies like Lordstown. They are urgent and late and still kind of simple. So it's not always a guaranteed success just having all the pieces. They all have to work together. It's still a matter of an ideal circumstance, but there you go. And then you get to the Model S. It was unveiled. It came out reasonably quick, within about a year of when it was supposed to, and it was moderately urgent. It was kind of do or die, as always. A lot of things were in them early days, but they had to get it built. Were there compromises? Not really, not so much. Mostly it was about the frunk was a little too small, the door handles were a little too complicated, but it was a pretty much uncompromising car, and it was great, and it came out pretty quick because it had to. So then came the Model 3. That was a big unveiling. That was a big deal. This is the $35,000 car. This is something that kind of has to happen, right? It's urgent, it's not simple, and it's not compromised, but other cars are coming out at the same time. So maybe the urgency is really what's coming in. You got the Volt, pure compromise, that thing, but simple for GM to make because it's just a car, and they know how to make cars. You've got other ones coming too. Yeah, the Leaf. The Leaf was already out. Pure compromise. The battery, it doesn't cool. It has a range of 80 miles, but it's simple. It's not urgent, and it's not great, and it certainly isn't profitable. And even at $35,000, the Volt and the Leaf were just not selling. You could lease these cars for $200 a month for 3 years. You get a residual of like 28 grand. You can't sell it for that. You're certainly not going to buy it for that. People turn them in. They're on the secondary market for 9, 10 grand. These companies are losing cajillions of dollars. So the Model 3, pretty urgent, kind of a big deal. Got to get it out. And it came out a little late, but not super late. And that's kind of why, is what I think. So then you got a car like the Model Y. That was announced with very little fanfare. Elon didn't even seem excited about the event. It kind of felt like he was trying to downplay it, like he was trying to not get your enthusiasm up too much because he knew it would Osborne the Model 3. And the timeline he set still felt a bit optimistic. But the Model Y came out early, also with very little fanfare. It wasn't urgent necessarily. What it was simple, because you had, they said 90% of parts in common. It was probably more like 75 to 80, but the skateboard was the same, the drivetrain was the same, the electronics. Pretty much it was just the shell that was different. Even the seats were the same, just put on risers. So a simple car will get you where you're going in terms of getting a car out on time. And again, at this point, the competition's starting to wake up. They're making cars, but they're not doing it in any way that they're excited about. They're not getting anything really compelling out there, but they're getting their feet wet. And what they're making is unexciting. The competition to the Model 3, the competition to the Model Y, what we're talking about is a lot of times cars that were just ICE vehicles, internal combustion, where they just swapped out the drivetrain. That's simple, that's compromise, but there's no urgency, and they came out quick. So you get Kias, which have no frunk, and you get other cars that have no range, and all of them are still kind of too expensive for what they are. The e-Golf, nobody was excited. It did not get into following, and they discontinued it kind of before the ID series even came out. So what are we doing? But that's where we get into the next round of products. The ones that we're still waiting for. Are you going to get them? So let's talk about the
Semi. Well, is it simple? You could say it is. For other manufacturers, people who already make them, sure. Not so much for Tesla. This is something brand new to them. Is it urgent? No, not at all. You could sell 50,000 units, 1,000 a week, and still it would mean nothing compared to Tesla's other sales, even if you are #1 in the country. Is it compromised? Well, no, it's not that either. You can't compromise on a product like this because your customers would drop you. It has to be right out of the gate. So it's not simple, it's not compromised, and it's not urgent. Now, if you look at other manufacturers like Freightliner and like Peterbilt and Kenworth, they have a sense of urgency, but what they really have is simplicity. All they're doing is changing out the drivetrain. And what they have in spades is compromise. Those vehicles do not get enough range, 100, 150 miles. It's not good. Then you look at someone like Nikola. This is do or die for them. Their vehicle, their truck, their big rig came out in a reasonable amount of time because it had to. Their very survival depended on it. It is not a compromised truck. It's a little bit simple, I guess, in that they're mostly just assembling it, but it just kind of works. And since we are talking about 5 years since debut, well, that's why you're still waiting for your Semi.
And then we get to the Cybertruck. Yeah, are you going to get it? What's the whole point with that? Is it even easy to make? Is it even doable? That's not the Cybertruck. Hang on, let me try that again. The Cybertruck. Yeah, I knew I should have probably done this in a better situation, but you know, it's nice and loud here, and here it is. So the question is it actually coming?
So I tried to record this, but the room was just too noisy. I'll just dub it here. The Cybertruck. It's been a long time. We've been waiting years. It should have been out 2, maybe even 3 years ago, but it isn't. Is it simple? No, it's a whole new thing from the ground up. Is it compromised? No. It has got good range, the best in the market, if the stats hold, and it's completely different than anything else. And is it urgent? Well, only kind of. Mostly not really, because Tesla thought they would have to keep adding new products to expand production. The demand for the Model Y caught them a little off guard. They knew it would sell big, they knew it would probably sell huge, but they had no idea it would be in the running for the biggest car in history, the biggest car in the world. No, that was something they didn't expect. So when they did their 2 rounds of fundraising, raising $5 billion and $5 billion again, they changed their plans in Texas from the idea of making it in 3 phases, starting with the Cybertruck, to, you know what, let's build the whole thing at once and let's start with the Model Y because the demand is off the hook. Meanwhile, they're trying to still dial in their 4680 batteries, which have been a little complicated and difficult to get working. The Cybertruck really would prefer to have them, so they're kind of been waiting for that too. Yeah, this is not super urgent. The truck market is huge, but it is still there. They know that Ford can't crack the entire market. They're losing money on every truck they sell. GM's got the Hummer. Next year they'll have the Silverado. These are compromise vehicles. These are simple vehicles. There's no real urgency from them either. It's the simplicity that allows Ford and Silverado to come out quickly. Tesla has always wanted to go out with a hot launch, but they can't always do it. Now they can. They have the luxury of being able to delay and hold out for a little bit more perfection, not so much in the vehicle, though that too, but mostly in the production process, which is what allows vehicles to go out the door so quickly. If you start with bad processes, you end up with bad habits that can be very difficult to shake.
So what does it mean? Well, it means that, sometimes things take a little while. Sometimes things are difficult. Sometimes things are complicated, not simple, and not urgent. Maybe it means Cybertruck is never coming. Obviously, I don't agree with that assumption. But what did I miss? What did I misunderstand? Leave me all your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think there's a reason that cars come out so slow that I'm just not thinking about, that I somehow overlooked? It's possible. It's entirely possible. But I rely on your wisdom to get me through it. So, by the way, thanks to my patrons, as always, who get a massive early look at the newest footage coming out. All my blind and brilliance and wisdom, that's got to be worth something. And I've got some other great bonuses over there, too. You can go check it out at your leisure. For everyone else, subscribe, like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Stay tuned, stay juicy. And I can't wait to hear from you clever robots, all upon that flippity flop. So in the context of this video, I guess I'm going to say there are 3 factors that determine how quickly a vehicle can come out. And obviously there's more than 3. We're simplifying it because simplicity is one of the keys. I don't know what mode I'm in, but I need to fix it. There we go. That's better. Okay. Take 2. So there are 3 factors that can affect how quickly a car comes out. And now obviously there's more than 3.
Try the area without that,
Yeah.
Don't die.
So there.
Yeah, Brian fell backward and he cracked his head, and I tried to get him to the hospital, but we were in fucking Coalinga. There were no hospitals for 20 miles. Sorry, go ahead.
What you need is simplicity, urgency, or what's the fucking word? Oh yeah.